Okay. Simple question. Why do Vikings fans have to be such mopey whiners? Um, this whole weekend of football and being online, watching the games, being online, being on, Vikings Reddit and Twitter and Facebook and everything. All I fucking saw with every single game were fans whining and moping that we didn't have this player or we didn't have that coach. Um, every single game, like, oh my god, how could we? Why don't we have Stephon Diggs anymore? Why didn't we keep him? We suck. Why don't we have Aaron Donald? We could have drafted him instead of Anthony Barr. Why did we get rid of Taylor Heineke? Oh my God, Rick Spielman's such an idiot. Why would he let go of somebody like Taylor Heineke? You um, and like, oh my God, why are we stuck with the players we have? And then of course the worst of all was the Brown Steelers game because they're whining. Oh, we could have had Stefanski as the head coach instead of Zimmer. Oh, we why did we let go of Prefer? Oh my God, why did we get rid of these guys? The worst was the one I saw. A fan whining, moping. Oh, if we had only not beaten the Saints in the playoffs, then Zimmer would have been fired, and we could have then had Stefanski promoted to head coach, and then we'd be great. Are other fan bases like this? Like I dip into other teams, online fandoms once in a while, and I don't really see this because, like, okay, look, these teams are in the playoffs. We're not. Like, we had a 7-9 season. We had a terrible defense. We had a bad offensive line. We lost games that we shouldn't have lost. We're not in the playoffs. We're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. It's just not. It just wasn't our year. And these teams are had better years. Like every team in the playoffs had a better year than we did. That other than I mean, you could make the argument that Washington didn't because we had the same record. But um, you know, like how is that the approach you want to take as a fan? To just constantly be whining every time you see a game or any team that's not the Vikings, any game that doesn't involve the Vikings, just sit there and whining and moaning that we don't have this player. Oh my God, we're a failure because we didn't draft this guy, we didn't trade for this guy, we didn't develop this guy. Well, look, I know we didn't have the season we wanted, but you do understand that when other teams watch the Vikings, even if they don't, even if they're a better team than us, they're sitting there, wondering, God, I wish we had Justin Jefferson. Oh, I wish we had Dalvin Cook. Man, I wish we could have Daniil Hunter or Eric Kendricks or Harrison Smith or yes, even Kirk. There are teams that would like to have Kirk that don't. And I don't know. They don't. Do they moan and whine like we do? You know, it's kind of an open-ended question. I don't really know if they do or not, but it gets just insufferable with this Vikings fan base. Like I get it, okay, to a degree. Like we'd rather have a playoff team right now than a non-playoff team, but we did have a playoff team last year, and a lot of these teams in the playoffs now didn't have weren't in the playoffs last year. It's just kind of the way it is. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean that Rick Spielman is an idiot who can't identify talent, and Mike Zimmer's a bad coach, and we are just devoid of stars or something. I just like I'd love to have a lot of these. Believe me, if I could sign up right now and have you know the players we have now, plus a Stephon Diggs, plus Aaron Donald, plus Mike Evans, plus God, who else? um, Nick Chubb. Like, man, get him on this team, or even like players from teams that lost this weekend. Like, yeah, I'd love it. Show me how that works with the fucking salary cap. Like, I'm sorry that we don't have some of these guys, and that, you know, a lot of them would be big upgrades. Well, yeah, when you're an elite player at a position, you're an upgrade over most of the league. But, like, I know this fan base that just insists on being miserable, whiny bastards all the time, but this is really pathetic watching some of the stuff for the weekend, especially the stuff involving Heineke and involving the Browns. Like, okay, like, what if the Browns go out and get blown out by 30 points next week by the Chiefs? Are we still better off if we had Stefanski over Zimmer? I mean, like, this could be the one year the Browns ever do anything with Stefanski. This could be their one year. This could be their last playoff win for another 25 years. You know, like, I get it. I get like the jealousy angle of like, God, I wish that was us. And I get it too. Like, I sometimes feel like teams that haven't had success in a while and now they're having success. You know, like it to a degree it can bug me, but you know, especially when it involves championships. Like anytime a team, in any sport, any of the major sports, wins a championship that hasn't won a championship in a long time or maybe ever, I've gotten to the point where I get resentful. Like, well, how come they're getting it and we don't? Like, you know, we're sitting here with only the Twins of the major four having won us a championship, and that was 30 years ago. And you see some of these other downtrodden markets and franchises, they win, and I get the jealousy angle, but like, I don't sit there and bemoan that, oh my God, why don't we have this player or that player? Like, we've got a lot of good players, and we've had a lot of good players in past years. It just hasn't worked out for us for a Super Bowl, but we've got a lot of really good players on the Vikings, even in a 7-9 season. And like, other teams would like to have those players that we have, and we would like to have some players that these teams have. It's just, again, do other fan bases moan and whine like this? Like, is that the whole point of watching the playoffs? Is just to pick and choose players and be mad at your team that they don't have that player? It just seems like a miserable way to go about being a fan, but that's Vikings fandom in, well, now 2021. We seem hell-bent on just being miserable all the time. Even when we win, we got to be miserable. We got to always be mad. Everyone's got to be fired. Everyone's got to be traded and released. Like, I hate to break it to you, Vikings could very well be back in the playoffs next year. And maybe they won't, but they could be, because that's just the way the NFL is, and there's extra playoff spots now. It's like, it's just a cyclical league, and we might be back in the playoffs next year. Maybe we'll even win a division if a few things, go our way. And then, maybe some other fans will be sitting there watching us in the playoffs and bemoaning that they don't have the players that we have. But I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why we have to be this way as a fan base. This fan base is like mentally deficient in some way or something. I don't get it. It's like, I'm sorry that we aren't in the playoffs, and I'm sorry that we don't have every single star player who's ever entered the NFL. Like, every team has passed on star players. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Every franchise passed on him. Russell Wilson was a 3rd-round pick. Every team passed on him. Almost the entire league passed on Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. Like, this is just how it is. Like, everyone's got, the one that got away, and I don't know that we have more than anyone else, but we sure seem to whine more than anyone else. It's really, really tedious. I just, I hate to say, maybe it's pointless to say appreciate what we have when we have a 7-9 team, but God damn it, we got some good players. Like, we don't have every star player. I'm sorry. No team ever has or ever will. I think we've done a pretty good job over the years of getting a lot of talent on this team, and it hasn't translated into a Super Bowl. But it's not gonna. Guess what? It ain't gonna translate into a Super Bowl for most of the teams that played this weekend. Maybe all of them. Only one out of 14 playoff teams is winning a Super Bowl this year. Are the other 13 just failures? I don't look at it that way, but I guess Vikings fans do.